Renee, it's a day of celebration because Allie is back.
is.
The captain is back.
And what a great way to kick off February. It's Black
right.
History Month. We've got more
Hey.
scrimmages and friendlies happening, but we're also going to have the start of the MLS season, and Saprissa game is going to be happening. So this month marks a lot of exciting things to come in 2024.
Who said February sucks for sports?
I know. It's incredible. Franco, what's up? Yeah, Captain America is back.
go.
And on the other side, not only do we have the exciting news, but yes, Inter Miami got thumped. Oh, even without Ronaldo, Messi didn't play until late. Anyways, but we'll get there. So listen, I never felt like today was going to be a slow day because I remember on Tuesday when we had our live show, as we were wrapping up, the rosters dropped. It was like 4:14, and I started seeing. I know you guys were talking about it in the chat at that time. We were getting ready to wrap up the show, and it was one of those things. It's like, listen, it's breaking news, but it's breaking news that we have to wait on. We need time to this needs time. We got to look into it. We have to figure out more specifics. What does this mean? All that. So we will get into the rosters that dropped on Tuesday, because of course, since then we've had more pressing news that has happened. Let's start with the captain, of course.
Capitan.
Now, I do want to preface all of these updates for today with saying we've been manifesting some of these things, JP.
Yeah, that's right.
Some of the news that we've heard, goalkeeper signing, Ali Bedoya coming back, Ali Bedoya's contract specifically, are things that we've talked about on PHLY Union that we feel like should happen. So I'm not going to toot our own horn or anything, but toot toot. So the news broke today. Alejandro Bedoya is coming back. He has signed a new contract. Breaking news, he's returning. There he is, Mr. Bedoya on your screen. New contract for 2024, where he's returning as a first-team player, but is also going to be taking on a new role as player development and front office specialist. So with this, he becomes a mixture in a role of being a player, but also in a way a coach, which is something that I know we've talked about here on the show. And Ali Bedoya is that guy. He's the leader. He's a veteran. He's a captain. He already has been a coach. This now is officially giving him that title. And I know he was talking about just the excitement about Philadelphia as home, the Union as his club, and how he didn't want to be anywhere else in Major League Soccer besides right here with the Union. This is where he wanted to stay. And the development and ever-evolving success of both the team and the organization from the first day he started to here has been nothing short of incredible, as Ali mentioned. And so he's grateful, and he's continuing to give everything he can to the organization and looking forward to a successful 2024. We all are, Ali. We all are.
Hell yeah.
But I feel like partly why this deal took so long, now knowing what we know, is because of the fact they had to figure out how to bring him back in a way that could contribute in other ways. And actually, that's what Ernst Tanner was saying, not to take his words, but I figured a 1-year deal would make sense for him. And why is it taking so long? So now knowing this, what Ernst Tanner was saying, they had to figure out how they can bring him back to the club where he could continue to contribute to the team and in the player professional development role. They were trying to figure out those logistics and nuances, and it probably took longer for the off-field role versus on-the-field role. So exciting news to see him in this, JP, because I know you were talking about that even on Tuesday as recently, that Ali would make sense to be a player coach.
Yeah, I was almost right on that, but this is probably a better suited job for him.
Yeah.
Let's not forget he's been going through business school. So now that he has that knowledge, he has that education, that's something good that can convert into what could possibly be him with the Philadelphia Union, a front office role as well. But it's crazy how we all come full circle here. You know, during the season, we talked about the rumor, a 20-second conversation to say goodbye to your captain. To now, we're talking about Ali being here for possibly 5, maybe 10 years, knock on wood, as he probably converts into a front office role here. But I'm curious about if there was any sense of urgency with the signing of this, because Renee, when I look at Ali in the free agency pool this past offseason, he was the best vet. Like by far, he was the best vet. And if you're some of these playoff teams, you would look at a player like Alejandro Bedoya to add on to your team to be that missing piece. But instead, Ali's front was pretty quiet until we got the news the past couple of weeks that it's getting close. You know, you heard Tom Bogart every time. We're getting closer, but we weren't getting there yet. And until the news finally came here today. I think this is great. Ali, obviously, we all know his worth, his value to this club, especially to the history of this team. I mean, the statue better be built once he finally retires, because when you think of the Philadelphia Union, I think of obviously Sebastian Letou. I think of Andre Blake, but for sure, I think of Alejandro Bedoya, captain, He's a big goal scorer for this team too. Has been a huge part of the development that we have been doing as well here. But I think this is the best case scenario. So it looks like it's just a 1-year deal, and this is legit. Now the last dance. All right, this is the last dance. We can make the Netflix documentary now. So it's all for Allie. Hashtag do it for Allie this year, right?
Yeah, it is. Ali Bedoya has appeared in it's been 247 MLS games. His career here, as you talk about, has cemented him as one of the best names to ever come through Philly sports, honestly, bigger than just the Union.
I like you said that.
Yeah, and because he absolutely has had such a big role since he joined the club in 2016, of also just being that guy that connects so well with fans and with the next generation of players. I know he was talking about that even on our show, of just how he's, surrounded by the young guys in the locker room. He has Jack and Nate and Quinn, they're sitting around him. And in that moment, he was just telling a story about it. But when you really take a step back and think about what that means, your captain is sitting in the locker room with the youngest guys for a reason.
Yeah.
And so this role is perfect for him. He's already been acting in this role as the bridge between the youngsters, the veterans, the team, and the coaches. He's been that in between already. So I know, as you guys are mentioning in the chat, Kyle will join. Yeah, it's a great day. What's up, Will? And Kyle. And it's definitely a huge opportunity for him because he has been that voice for so many things on and off the pitch. That's why he's been, someone that we see as a humanitarian and winning awards for it, because he has been actively championing and leading the charge on so many different initiatives around the team, around the league, around soccer, around diversity in soccer, around opportunities. So I think it's a great way because now we officially know the writing is way on the wall.
Yeah.
This is it. 1-year deal. Inked that today. That now we know this is our chance to really enjoy Ali Bedoya, the player.
Yeah.
Get to see him this is like the farewell tour for him. And now we can appreciate and take time to celebrate him, which is what we felt robbed of last year when we heard that news of a 22-minute conversation leading to him possibly being out the door. Now we know, okay, his future as a player is short, but we know there's an opportunity for him to still be with the club moving forward. And now we can just appreciate who he is and what he's done here. So I'm excited for this 2024 season even more because there's always that extra emotion and excitement when you have a player that's getting ready to retire.
Yeah, absolutely.
That you now can go into the season preparing, and every final game versus an opponent, or every final time you're at a certain field, or you're going to get a chance to give him his flowers and celebrate him. And then even hopefully that carries into a contagious way of helping the team have extra motivation. Hashtag do it for Ali. Just saying.
I like that. So now we're talking about preparation for 24. The big question mark for me, and I want to hear it from Jim because I think we all have an idea.
Yeah.
But what is Allie's role with the field, with the squad this year? I think we all expect him to be as that super sub coming off the bench. But I think a lot of us do want to know exactly here from Jim what he expects from Allie. Because listen, up until last year, mostly because of injury, but Jim has been running Allie for 90 minutes consistently for a lot of matches, and especially as he's gotten older. So I really want to hear that concrete answer. And I'm curious. So it's a really good point you bring up. Will they do like a Derek Jeter-esque type of tour?
Absolutely.
He deserves it for
we
sure.
See it in every sport, in every league.
He's well respected.
When a player makes it known this is it, you now have the final farewell tour. And take a page out of Gotham's book in the NWSL. Ali Krieger, it was her final season.
Amen.
And all season they were giving her flowers at every game and saying this is it and doing it for Kriegs. And then they won the NWSL championship. So no pressure or anything, but finish out with some hardware for your captain. Now this role specifically, just to talk about the off the roll side, and then I do want to touch on kind of what you were mentioning in his role as a player.
Yeah.
So the player professional development role is something that the MLS does allow for every club to designate one player as that position.
Okay.
And within that, they have the responsibilities to contribute in different parts of the club's business. They're also involved in coaching and front office duties, diversity liaison. And so with this role, Ali's going to have a chance to support the union in a number of initiatives, helping with marketing, helping with the digital and social media side. Of course, his hand's not going to be in all of these, but he would have a voice. He would have a seat at the table. And it just gives him a chance to also help with providing some innovative ideas for player development, as well as just being a mentor to the club's younger players. So a lot of these things he was already doing unofficially, essentially, and it now just puts him in an official role with a title to it that he's going to be helpful in the overall approach to player rotation, mentoring, marketing, the plan moving forward, the development process, and that's going to be huge for him.
Yeah.
Now, as a player specifically, I would like to see him be an off the bench, contributor.
For sure.
I see in the chat, Dan, you're mentioning he could be a spot starter, more likely a super sub. Yeah, I think he's more, and Kyle, you're saying the same thing, as a super sub and spot starter. I think you get him the occasional starts. I think you get him the opportunities maybe when, someone else is injured or just needs a rest, that Ali can give you good minutes as a starter, but you don't need him to be that.
Yeah.
And so back to I'm going to loop this all around, because we of course know Ali was not on the CONCACAF roster.
That's right.
I wouldn't be surprised if he stays that way.
Okay.
And they manage his minutes also too, because he is older. This is probably it. As we know, we haven't heard the official "this is it" announcement, but this is probably it. So I wouldn't be surprised if they even manage, and maybe he's not taking an official roster spot for like the CONCACAF roster, for example, because he can still swing in there if needed because of the rules and the number of players that the union have listed on the roster. We'll get there. But I think they're going to be more creative with picking and choosing when he's starting, when he's rostered, when he's a super sub, when he's maybe not playing at all in the game.